Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. I am Adam. We are back. This is a bit weird, isn't it? A United Daily Live. We haven't done one of these in an awfully long time, although we've had the news and McKola reacts and the previews and the reactions and all those kind of things. We haven't done one of these late night live news videos because we haven't had really much of a reason to do it. Obviously, we had the European Super League and all that kind of stuff, but I had that covered. Well, today, playing football, come back, listening to the radio, and I'm hearing Harry Kane wants to leave Tottenham Hotspur. Now, we've always had this feeling that Harry Kane wants to leave Spurs. He will leave Spurs. He wants to get trophies, this, that, and the other. But actually hearing that he's come out and said he wants to leave is obviously a step closer to him leaving. And it's something that we haven't heard before. Now, I had to check, was this right? First of all, because when I was listening to it on the radio, it was Talk Sport. Now, you know, I love Andy Goldstein, love Jason Cundy and the lads. I love a few of them. But some of them aren't the most reliable. So I thought, let me go and check this out first. Jump online. And everything's going Harry Kane mad. Manchester United fans are talking. Manchester City fans are talking. Chelsea fans, Spurs fans. And obviously, fans of other clubs, the PSGs, your Real Madrids, Juventus, Barcelona. Although money's tight for a lot of clubs, they'll start thinking about Harry Kane because he is one of, if not the best striker in the world. He's coming to an age where, you know, his best years are now, really. If you want to win some trophies, you need to go and do it now. You've waited too long at Spurs. It's time to cut the cord and go out on your own and win some trophies. And obviously, with him being someone that you could probably expect to get close to or beat Alan Shearer's Premier League record if he stays in the league. That also makes it very interesting because is Harry Kane going to leave the Premier League or not? So we'll be getting stuck into these reports. We'll be looking at who looks likely to sign Harry Kane and what Spurs are saying as well. Because interestingly enough, Spurs have reacted to this and they've released a statement. Now, occasionally, you wouldn't expect that to happen because you'd think the team's going to stay quiet, hope that it's just rumours, treat it like it's just rumours, and not come out and make any sort of statement. Do you know what I mean? Yet, here we are, and they have. So we'll look at that too. Sean says, big up everyone who signed that petition as well today. Talking about the petition in regards to a fan-led review of football and a fan-led adjudicator of football, really. And obviously there's a petition which us guys at Stretford Paddock, you know, Redmen TV, Arsenal Fan TV, various different fan channels and broadcasters from traditional television, media, Henry Winter, Rio Ferdinand, Gary Neville, Gary Lineker, etc., etc. All these people have come together to co-sign a petition to hopefully force a fan review into, you know, the football and how things going. This is obviously something that's been spoken about before, but with the ESL and everything that's going on at the moment, it's obvious that, you know, it's coming to the forefront. There's a lot of momentum. There's a lot of protests from fans and everything. So this is something that's being put forward now. And you know, it's hit 100k petition signees already. So congratulations to everyone that was involved with that. And now that has to be spoken about in, it has to be spoken about in government and in parliament. We got loads of free Palestines in there as well. Yes, of course, each and every time. But let's get stuck into this news. Harry Kane again tells Tottenham he wants to leave. Now, again, I've never heard him say he wants to leave before, to be totally honest with you. Maybe it's something that he did behind closed doors, you know, and it didn't happen and he promised them another year or whatever. But this seems to me like it's the first proper time. And Sky Sports are reporting, I may just have a sip of my tea. Harry Kane has again told Tottenham he wants to leave this summer. Spurs are now making inquiries about replacement centre forwards in the first indication that the club are willing to consider the feelings of their 27-year-old talisman. They do not want to sell their prized asset, but Manchester United, Manchester City and Chelsea have all been in touch with Kane's representative, CK66, expressing a desire to sign the England international. Now, we know people in football talk. It wouldn't have surprised me if, when it looked like Jose Mourinho was going to be sacked, they didn't win the cup, they were knocked out, Europe, etc. If Harry Kane's representatives started putting the feelers out there. It wouldn't even surprise me if that happened earlier as the start of the season. But apparently, United, City and Chelsea have all been in touch with Kane's representatives, expressing a desire to sign the England international. Now, it says Kane's preference is to remain in the Premier League, and he wants to have his future resolved before turning out for England at this summer's European Championships in June. Now, you'd imagine Spurs would probably want that to happen after Euros, because Harry Kane's likely to score loads of goals. If he gets another golden boot, it probably adds a few quid onto his transfer fee. But Harry Kane seemingly pushing to leave before that. Now, Kane has made no secret in recent interviews that he wants to compete for Europe's top team trophies, having found them out of his grasp at both White Hart Lane and the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It is understood that Tottenham even persuaded Kane to delay plans that he harboured to leave last summer, after Jose Mourinho had replaced Mauricio Pochettino earlier in the season. Spurs hoped their first full season under Mourinho would be a successful one, but amid a Kane injury, their form disintegrated and they are set to miss out on Champions League football again, with a finish outside this year's top four. Consolation is the Europa Conference League, is it called? A Tottenham spokesperson told Sky Sports, "We have a season to finish and we want to finish it as strongly as possible. That's everyone should be focusing on." Now, I don't expect them to come out and say Harry Kane has asked to leave, but I do expect a little bit more resistance to the transfer rumours. And that to me probably suggests there's an acceptance within Tottenham that, he does want to leave and he will leave this summer. Although I'm sure Daniel Levy will keep his cards close to his chest, as you expect he'd have to. Now, Sky Sports News reported last week that United are not expected to sign another centre-forward this summer after re-signing Edinson Cavani, preferring to focus in strengthening at centre-back and central midfield, amid an expectation that obtaining Kane will be too difficult and that Erling Haaland will stay at Dortmund. Meanwhile, City also have Kane, Haaland, Lukaku and Danny Ings on their list as they look to replace Aguero. Chelsea too have been linked with Haaland, Lukaku and now Kane. Now, Dortmund got Champions League football, so it's very unlikely Haaland leaves this summer, although it's still possible. His agents, Raiola, money talks, all that stuff. It looks like if Dortmund are going to sell anyone, that would be Jadon Sancho. Now, obviously, United have been linked with Jadon Sancho, and I think we'd wait until next season, and we'd probably actually think, well, if City or whoever get Kane, that means they're probably not going to bother with Haaland next summer, and it might give us a freer race at him. I can't see United getting Harry Kane. I genuinely can't. Obviously, we're being linked. Obviously, I expect us to be interested. Harry Kane, as I said at the start of this video, is one of, if not the best striker in the world. And when that happens, when a player like that's available, you have to be interested. But I just don't feel there'd be a real intent from United to spend £100 million plus on a player that's had his fair share of injury issues. The age that he's at is not old, but, with that combined with the injuries, of course he's guaranteed goals. I just think United would probably look to spend that money on a Sancho or maybe a Haaland next summer. That's how I feel about it personally, especially with the news that we've signed Edinson Cavani. But again, that may have happened without this expectation of Harry Kane leaving. So it's interesting. Now, Sky Sports reporter Paul Gilmore says it's been no secret Harry Kane has wanted to compete for the top honours, both as a team and individually. It's been a frustrating one for him personally. It hasn't happened for Spurs with Champions League. It'll be a second season that he hasn't had that. He's valued at well over £120 million probably, and the rest if Spurs and Daniel Levy have anything to say about it. But let's face it, the ball is in their court. He has a contract until 2024, and they will certainly, if somehow they do agree to this, they'll want to get their money's worth, of course. But we have been told Tottenham managed to persuade Kane to stay last summer when one English club came in for him, and they said to him they had Jose Mourinho for a full season. Give it a go and let's see what happens. And clearly, as the season has gone on, it did not happen for Spurs and Mourinho has left. Harry Kane's had a brilliant season, but as a team, they're not going to qualify for the Champions League. So it looks like Harry Kane is leaving Spurs, but they're going to want uber money for him. 120, 150 million plus. In a study released in January by the Football Observatory, he was valued at £97 million. Then you add the fact on that Spurs don't want to sell. All those kind of considerations come into it. And it's going to be a lot of money. And I don't see United spending 100 million plus on one player this summer. I think we'll probably spend about 80, 90 on Sancho. I think we'll try and get a deal done for someone like Declan Rice with Lingard going the other way. And we might sign a centre-back. But that's it really. Maybe we'll spend around 150, 160 million. Take a little bit off. If you sell some players, your Diogo Dalot, players like that you could potentially sell and raise some money. But I see us spending around 150 million pounds, 160, before sales. And if that's the case, I don't see Harry Kane coming to Manchester United. Now, obviously, you lot will have different opinions. Dan says we don't need Sancho. I tend to disagree with that. We're crying out for a right winger. Nitin says let's sign Sancho and leave Kane alone. Injury prone, not worth the P's level we want, and not worth our time trying to negotiate. And I think that's a great point as well, what Nitin makes there. The time that it could take to negotiate, it'd probably take half your summer. So then what are you doing? What if you don't get him? What if he goes to City? What if he does this? What if he does that? And you haven't got him. And I can't see Ollie wanting to be up for that. People are saying Martial swap deal. The thing is, look, you'd swap a lot of players for fucking Harry Kane. Do you know what I mean? But the thing is, Anthony Martial's got to want to go in the other opposite direction, and that's not going to be the case at all. And also, we've got, like it's been pointed out, Cavani, Martial, Greenwood. Harry Kane's clearly better than every single one of them on that list. But I can't see us spending 120 million plus when we've got options there and we need a right winger, we need a centre back, we need a holding midfielder. Now, I hate to be that guy, and I know there's probably loads of people doing videos tonight getting really excited and buzzing and, yo, we're going to sign Jadon Sancho and all this. Sorry, Harry Kane. We're going to sign him. We're going to sign Harry Kane. I don't think that's the case, I really don't. Stephen says, my guy don't want much, which is interesting. Harvey says, genuinely, do you think United can get Haaland? Me personally, I don't think Haaland will end up at United, but I think United want him. And I think they would look to buy him next summer. Aquila says, in 99, Fergie had York, Cole, Sheringham and Ollie. He also wanted Rude and others. Sure, he played 4-4-2, but he knew he needed plenty of top-notch strikers. Glazers don't. Good point. Rude was a year or two after that. I think maybe 1 year after that. And then he obviously had his injury and then joined later on. Thank you for your super chat, Animesh Care. There's no message on it, so if you want to send your message through as a normal comment, then I will read that out. Devil's Ace says, right winger over a CDM is bollocks. Just because I listed them in that order, it doesn't mean it has to be. If we think we're only signing one player this summer, we're fucked because we're going backwards. Young King K says Kane and Varane. Pragadesh says no way Kane leaves this summer. Still has 2 years on his contract in a COVID market. No club will want to pay that much for him at his age, and he wants to stay in England, which limits his options even more. Could anyone see him potentially going to PSG? To team back up with Poch. He'd be guaranteed a league winners medal, and he could try and win the Champions League. Niaz, love your channel, bro. Keep up the good content. Thank you very much, Niaz. What's happening, Vish? Dennis is in the house. Sancho is yeah, I don't know who you're talking to there. Junko says Sancho is a left. Yeah. He's not, bro. Harry says the Athletic have said we might try and use Jesse as part of the deal for Kane. God, I can't see it. Although Jesse would fit in well at Spurs, I think. But that would be off Kane. How many players would want to go to Spurs if they're losing Kane? Young King says no way is he staying in the Prem. Let's see who else has been linked with Harry Kane. So what's the latest? So we spoke about how he's informed the club that he wants to leave. And The Guardian have just released an article saying Tottenham left reeling after Harry Kane tells club he wants to leave this summer. Harry Kane has let it be known that he wants to leave. The striker expressed his frustration at the end of last month, continued inability to achieve his ambition of winning major trophies at Spurs, in comments that he felt like the first step of an exit strategy. Was it when he was speaking on Sky Sports and he was like he wants to win trophies in that was a few years ago, wasn't it? He's off, man. And Spurs' comment makes it seem more likely that he's off to me, to be totally honest with you. The Daily Mail say Tottenham identifies City's Gabriel Jesus and United's Anthony Martial as potential part exchange for options for Harry Kane exit as Spurs started their star striker replacement plans several weeks ago. When was the last time a swap deal happened with money and all that? Mkhitaryan Sanchez didn't work out. I genuinely can't see swap deals happening, and I can't see Tony wanting to go there at all, which he has to agree to wanting to do that. You think he's going to want to give up Champions League football to go to Spurs? Obviously, that could change if the club say, we want to make this move happen. Imagine having Kane and Cavani as your two centre forwards. It's pretty much a wrap, innit? Jacob says, Villa fan here, love hearing you talk football. Nice one, bro. I think it's certain Kane goes to City. They have the money to and want to guarantee the league game. If they don't win the Champions League, I can see them looking at this one a little bit more seriously and thinking, we need to get Harry Kane. If they win the Champions League, maybe that changes for them. Fawaz says, Martial for Kane seems like a good deal, although I'll be sad to see Tony go. None of this stuff on my watch, yeah. Kane might want to stay in the Premier League and break Shearer's record. Good point, Barrett. And I think that is something that will be in Harry Kane's mind. But also, and I know Shearer won a Premier League trophy, so it's a bit different. But he'll want to be remembered for winning trophies more than that. Do you know what I mean? Maggi will never Glazers in regardless of who they buy. Regardless of who they buy. United should be able to buy who they want without the need for them even being involved. Imagine if Son leaves Spurs after Kane leaves. Son's definitely going to be crying if Kane leaves, isn't it? It cries about bloody anything. Sending off. Touched in his eye. Losing a game. Just cries about everything, doesn't he? Andalor's another one who thinks he'll end up at City. Miles Van Eaton with a super chat. Thank you for getting involved, Miles. Says, doubt we will sign Kane. Hopeful of Sancho. And I'm driving the Basuma bandwagon. Yves Basuma has a fantastic talent in it. I'd love us to sign him. It's one of those options in that DM midfield position where you think Basuma, Declan Rice, and NDD, those kind of figures are the ones that you want United to be looking at in the summer. You know, Declan Rice is probably someone that's going to cost a bit more money. But with the link with Jesse Lingard already there, not bad. Kai says, get me Sancho. And Leo says, I'm on the Basuma bandwagon. So he's with Miles. One of Bruce's Kane's not leaving England. International leagues don't mean as much to the England captain. Winning trophies will mean a lot to him. And his relationship with Poch's there. Imagine if Mbappe leaves, Neymar's thinks staying. Neymar, Kane. Could be something there. So I'm seeing a Mkhitaryan song in there. If Kane will cost 150 mil for an extra 30 mil, would you take Haaland? It's an interesting one. Harry Kane is the better striker now. Haaland is the one that you bring in and you think is probably going to be the one for the future. But it's an interesting one, isn't it? What if you brought in Haaland and he didn't adapt to the Premier League or something like that? I know it's probably not going to. He would probably be fucking tearing it up and scoring 50 goals a season. But there's always that risk, isn't there? So it'd be interesting to see what would happen with that. Not a whisper about Ronaldo yet, says Josh. That's weird, isn't it? We're normally linked with Ronaldo every single week. Tezo thinks PSG will definitely be interested. Did Kane actually hand in a request? The reports, and Spurs have replied to them saying everyone needs to focus on the league campaign, which makes you think that, he's off. Do you know what I mean? The Times are saying we may attempt to use Jesse Lingard. The Mail are saying Spurs want Martial and Gabriel Jesus. The Telegraph are saying that Tottenham value him at 150 and are resistant to allowing him to join an English club. United have known for a long time that Kane wanted to leave Tottenham and had him top of their wish list. Kane is still on the list despite Cavani's renewal, but is not as urgent. Harry Kane has told Tottenham he wants to leave the club. United, City and Chelsea have been in touch with his representatives. His preference to stay in the Premier League and have this situation sorted before the Euros. So that's the latest on Harry Kane. And I, for one, as much as I'd love it to happen, Harry Kane to Man United, one of the best strikers, if not the best striker in the world, I reiterate again, I just don't think it will happen. But let us know what you lot think in those comments below. Make sure you're liking this video, commenting, sharing, joining if you can. Get your super chats in like Mars and Anime Shav recently. And of course, there's also other news as well. Anthony Martial, speaking about him, is available again for Manchester United this week. He can play against Fulham, probably be from the bench. But him and Daniel James are back. We've got Fulham tomorrow, 6 p.m. UK time kickoff. I'll be on the watch along with the lads from Stretford Paddock. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments below on all things Harry Kane. But this has been United Daily Live. I've been AdamMcKola. You lot have been absolute legends. I'm going to get out of here for now, but keep it locked. See you in a bit.